Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? But with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers, a network of 130 million of them, in fact. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills, and did I say job title? See how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome to No Question About That Daily. I'm Ed, today here with Isabel. How's it going?
It is very good. What about you?
Yeah, surviving. Yeah, I've had this cold for the last week. Hopefully not too much coughing. We are going to talk about Alejandro Garnacho because there's a lot of rumours in the media today about Napoli potentially being interested. They've sold Kvaratskhelia to Paris Saint-Germain. I guess they're biggest name player, apart from Scott McTominay, of course. But so they're flush with cash, and Garnacho doesn't appear to be number one choice at United. Yeah, what's your immediate thoughts, reaction to Garnacho potentially going?
Yeah, I think I would be sad to see Garnacho go. Obviously, he is a young player. There is still progress to be made, which I do think he'd be capable to do that at Napoli. I do want to keep him, though, because obviously I think we are kind of at a short of wingers. And I think Garnacho is definitely getting better and better the more I see him. I know he's had a bit of a blip kind of recently, but then obviously he had a good game the other day. So I do like Garnacho. I think there's definitely a player there, but it all depends on the money as well. I mean, if Napoli are offering a good amount, then I don't know was it looking at about 50 million?
Yeah, a whole bunch of different numbers flying around. I mean, none of which I think you can trust now. It does appear that the fee that Napoli have got from Paris Saint-Germain for Kvaratskhelia is 70 million euros. So that's around about 60 million pounds, maybe some add-ons there. I mean, he's obviously an established Champions League player. Last season, bit of a dip. Season before, I think it was 30 goals and assists combined, which is a good number. Marcus Rashford numbers from 2 seasons ago as well. Yeah. So, yeah, that's probably an appropriate fee for someone that good. Napoli top of the Serie A at the moment, doing some very odd deals, despite being top of Serie A, trying to build under Conte. So, seems like that's the sort of number that might be floating around. I mean, I tend to agree with you. I think it should be a really big number for Garnacho if United sell, and that's because of the kind of high ceiling, high potential we think he's got. I don't think he's ever really put it together for 20 games in a row or something like that yet. I mean, he's only 20. So.
Yeah, he's still young.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's a lot of work still to be done with Garnacho. I would like to see him progress more at United, definitely. Of course, there's a bit of a how's he going to fit in or where is he going to fit in? Because obviously if Ahmad and Bruno are playing that kind of double number 10 role, where does Garnacho fit in? But then again, on rotation, but does he want to be a rotating player? Probably not. It's all up in the air. I wonder what Garnacho would want to do though, because I don't know. I don't know whether he'd want to leave or stay. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I get the impression that he has a high opinion of himself.
Yeah.
Hence some of the minor disciplinary problems he's had. I mean, of course, he was dropped from the City game reportedly because he turned his back when getting instructions from the manager in the Pilsen game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's just some of that. And there was talk before about sort of poor performances in training, and he buckled down under Ten Hag apparently after that. And seems like he's a player that's very coachable, but has a high opinion of himself and therefore would want to go to the top. And Napoli top of Serie A, but not historically like one of Italy's big clubs. I mean, I know that sounds unfair because obviously they won the title a couple of seasons ago and they could well do again this season. Back to the 80s when Diego Maradona was there, they won the league for the first time in God knows how long, and it was a major thing. And Naples is historically not one of Italy's rich cities. And so all of that, they feel like one of those clubs that really wants to challenge, but don't traditionally. And so that would feel like a stepping stone if he's got ambitions of making it to the really the top, where United should be but aren't. And it's going to be a few years before we're back there. So it'd be a slightly odd move, but if you saw it as 3 years at Napoli, then on to an elite club, then you could kind of make sense of it, I guess.
Yeah, it's just whether, I guess that'd be a risk for him whether he'd want to take that, because it is a risk. If you go and you're not that good, you're not going to get a big move. I mean, the Premier League is the most competitive league in the world. I think it was one of the most competitive leagues.
Yeah,
and I think for young players to have made it in that league sort of already, I think Garnacho, he's made a name for himself. People know who he is. He's scored some really good goals. He's done some great stuff. Of course, like I said, there's still work to be made, but work to be done. But I think, he's doing pretty well in the Premier League and the hardest league. So for me, it's kind of like, well, why would you leave this big league at a big club like Manchester United? I wouldn't fully understand it. And I don't really think Man United fans would want him to go. Maybe some would. I don't know. I feel like we do need to be bringing in more top quality wingers, but I think keep Garnacho for another year and see how he gets on. I would.
Well, I think that's the ideal scenario, is that he develops. And the question is, does he fit under Ruben Amorim? If we're really buying into this project and believe in this manager and where he's going, then can he develop into being a little bit more of an intelligent, left-sided number 10? And I know that's Bruno's role, or he could play in either of those roles, Garnacho, if he becomes a little bit better in the final third in terms of his decision-making and great ball-carrying skills, great work rate now. Now he's kind of sorted out some of those issues. Seems to have good sort of defensive head on him as well when he has to do that. Think about Bruno's goal at the Emirates the other night. Garnacho wins the duel, carries the ball 50 yards, picks out the right pass, Bruno scores, right? That's what you want from him every time. And so that's when you look at the high ceiling and go, oh, hang on a minute, do we really want to get rid of a player who could conceivably, if he improves everything, score 15 and assist 15 a season? And that's a very rare. You look at the numbers. I did this. I was looking at all the comparative players to, say, Marcus Rashford, right? How many can put up the kind of numbers that Rashford did 2 seasons ago? And it's almost none in Europe, right? There's so few. And you have to pay a really big number to get that. So if you're saying that Garnacho's got that potential, not shown it, but potential, then it should be a really big number, because you're going to have to pay a lot to replace him with equal quality. So that just be my concern, I guess, that you're losing a player a bit too early before they've really peaked. And that's a strange position for United to be in, selling younger players. Then again, if he doesn't fit at all and he's only ever going to be on the bench under Amorim, and Amorim doesn't believe he can develop into the kind of more intelligent forward that he wants, then I guess it's just, you look at United's record, last 10 years of buying players, it's not good. There's no guarantee that you bring someone in and you get the requisite quality.
No, it's sort of like, if we've got a good player, I think we need to hold on to him. It's definitely a difficult one with Garnacho, because like you said, how he did that great, carried the ball and then passed it to Bruno. It was great. And I don't feel like we've seen enough of that from Garnacho in the last, all of this season. I don't know, I can't even remember. I don't think Garnacho's had a really, really good game this season. I think obviously he's been benched a lot as well. So he's still got to kind of prove himself to Amorim. Like you said, is he going to fit into this Amorim system? We're still figuring that out. I definitely think there's a player there. He has shown that he's capable, but he just has to, take the opportunities that he's given, like he did on Sunday. He did take the opportunity and did really well. So I think there's definitely a place for Garnacho here, and it is just going to depend on Amorim's system. I think losing him to Napoli would be a blow. And like you said, you can bring in other players, but they've got to be of a high quality. You can't just be bringing in anyone. And we've brought up Garnacho. He's young and he's been brought up under Ten Hag. So I would keep him for a little bit. I would, and just see how it goes. Yeah.
I mean, I guess the financial part of this is a consideration as well. I mean, big fee, then you start to think about it, mediocre fee, and then what's the point? There's It's just you could be trading away a player to bring in someone of lesser quality, even if it's in a different position, right? There's a risk associated with that. Big fee, then United start to think about what they can do with it. He would, because he's played in our academy and signed a new contract after that, even if he was brought in, he was one of the players that was brought in that sort of post-Brexit, like trolley dash to bring in all these young players, came in from Atletico Madrid, really small, as like £250,000 or something like that. United would put it on the books straight away, and then you can effectively get another player and split that same fee over 5 years. I mean, you do have to make the revenue there's no magic money tree here. Like, you're not inventing money. It's just accounting shenanigans where you could book the 70 million straight away, even if you're getting the cash from Napoli over 5 years, and then spend that right now and then split that fee. So, 70 million euros translates to like 250 million worth of spending, or more than that. In fact, it's just that United would have to get the requisite revenues later on, and that involves Champions League football and all the money that goes with that and all of that. So it's just a big risk. It's the kind of thing that Chelsea have been doing, like buy young players, sell them on. City have done really well with their academy. Fantastic revenue source for them. Sometimes they make mistakes. I think they're probably regretting selling Cole Palmer at this point, for example, but that's the kind of accounting thinking. I just don't like that. It kind of encourages really odd behaviours from clubs. I mean, if you look at in the summer, all those clubs who sold all those young players, hardly any of them have made any starts. That was all a bit dodgy. But then to go down the route of going, well, we like this player, he's got a high ceiling, but it's a good offer and it works from our accounting perspective, it just feels weird.
Yeah, it's just like not focusing on the football at all, which is really annoying because it's like that's what it's all about. Like, of course, the financial part comes into play, of course, but I think as a fan, you want to see the club bringing in good players for specific reasons to fit into the team, or sales when we're selling players, ones that make sense. I think we've definitely sold some players who haven't made sense, or brought in players that didn't really make sense. I mean, talking about like Xerxes, I think Xerxes is a fine player, but kind of why did we bring him in? Did we need Xerxes? Same with Mason Mount. Did we need Mason Mount? It's just another thing where it's kind of a money thing, and it's like you're not actually looking, whether that's the Glazers possibly, but it's not, you're not looking at the football. You need to be looking at the football, but of course it all comes into play. So
yeah, unfortunately, I mean, in a non-PSR world, Sir Jim, who is 60% owner of a 60 billion euro a year company, would just like pump as much money as he wanted into the club, and you wouldn't have to think about this at all, and it'd just be about chasing the kind of players that should be of the standard that United hope to regain and all of that. But unfortunately, we have spent years wasting money on poor quality players, and we're now paying the piper for that. I mean, there's a consequence to it, unfortunately, and it's going to take a little while to unwind. And the other thing to think about, and it's a really hard one for all United fans, I mean, especially for older ones like me who've been through many years of success. I mean, I'm old enough that I remember when it was crap. So, or was going to games when it was really crap. The thing we're going to have to accept is that established players at elite clubs, Champions League clubs, don't come to United right now because we are at the Champions League next year. We're not going to be in the Champions League this year, and next year, unless we win the Europa, which is still possible. And like, we're only making the Champions League one season in every two, and haven't been to a quarter final for, well, when was the last time? I don't even remember. It was that bad. Under Moyes, I think, 2014. And so our status as a club is like necessarily diminished, and therefore, in order to attract players of sort of elite status, you have to overpay them. Overpaying has a real consequence. We've seen this again and again and again with United. Some players who do well for a bit, maybe they're older, maybe they're Casemiro. That's a £25 million a year impact on our PSR calculations, Casemiro, and he's on the bench. And United would get rid of him tomorrow if there was any fee. We have to adjust our expectations. That's a really hard thing to say and accept. And part of that expectations might be selling young players. I hate it.
Yeah.
I really hate it, but
It's
it
not
might
fair,
be that.
but
No.
yeah. I mean, I think, me personally, I think we need to be looking at Premier League players, people who are proven in the Premier League. But like you said, like they just don't want to come to United. No one wants to come to United unless there's a fee. Like this is why we've been getting the Casemiros in. You know, it's not. It is a bit of a mess right now. We know know the transfer windows are always a bit of a mess. You know, we're just not bringing in the right players. I'm interested to see if we make some good signings in the summer, because I think we do need, and obviously people's contracts are up in the summer, so some people will leave. But we just need to be bringing in some good players, and hopefully for a good price. And I would try and hold on to the young players while we can. I think Garnacho, we should hold on to him.
Well, I mean, talking young players, I think that's where they'll focus. I mean, so if you look at the summer just gone, I mean, they're all pretty young. Mazraoui's older, but he was on a really good fee, and well, he'd said some things in Germany that are probably not acceptable in German football culture, and so Bayern were happy to get rid, and we got a great player for a really good price. That's unusual. That's an anomaly, I think, and so most of what United will be looking at is younger players of the Josh Zirkzee mould, I'd say. Now, whether he personally turns out to be a good player or not is to be decided. There's something there. I thought he played pretty well against Arsenal, actually. It's just, is he a good fit for the number 9 or a deeper role? It's really unclear so far. And so I think that's what United will do. They'll look for younger players who have a really high potential and maybe at a slightly reduced fee. Zirkzee had that release clause. That's why he was a reasonable fee, as opposed to, say Rasmus Højlund, who's a really big fee, bigger than the Kvaratskhelia fee. And like hasn't really justified it yet. Maybe he will, maybe not. Well, let's see. So the other thing to think about, I think, is like Amorim's choices for those front 3 positions. And like we started the season, it felt like, when Amorim came in, it felt like we had a lot of options. So you got Højlund and Zirkzee and Ahmad and Garnacho and Rashford and Mount and Bruno and Anthony. And then you look at it now and you can have a really kind of negative opinion of it. Garnacho, maybe he goes. Rashford, totally out of the picture. Mount, injured all the time. Josh Zirkzee, not really proving himself yet. Rasmus Højlund can't score goals. Anthony's absolutely crap. Sorry. Maybe he's a nice guy. Doesn't seem like he's a nice guy at all, actually. No. Not if you really read those reports from 18 months ago. And so the only 2 who are actually performing of the, 8 choices there are Bruno and Ahmad. Yeah. That's pretty concerning.
It is. No, it is. I think, like you said, like at the start of the season, there was definitely like, we've got a lot of rotation. Then obviously since Rashford's gone out, that's a player gone. And then obviously he seems to be sticking with this Bruno and Ahmad recently up at the number 10 role. And then obviously Højlund as your striker. But I think there definitely needs to be a lot of work done around the Højlund area, because they're just not creating chances. Højlund's not, I don't know whether part of me is like, they're not giving Højlund chances, but then when I'm seeing him get chances, he's not scoring. So I really feel like it's a bit of both. I think Ahmad is slightly better up front rather than on the right wing back, because I think he is a number 10, really. But I mean, Ahmad's versatile and can play pretty much wherever you want him, which is good. But no, there's a lot of work to be done in that front 3 area.
Yeah, I mean, there is. I mean, there's potential there, but unfulfilled. Yeah. Rasmus Højlund, my feeling is he spends way too much time fighting with centre-backs and less time running into channels and into space, which is what he should do. And he has this tendency to play off the left side, and which is fine, but makes him a little bit predictable. And I'd like to see him move into other spaces. If you look at Gyökeres at Sporting and his ability to fight with centre-backs and play with his back to goal, but also make those bended runs or run into the channels and play it all across that front area, I think that's the kind of style that Højlund should try to get to. He's got the potential. He just doesn't do it. So as a result, he's getting, on average, just over 1 shot a game.
Yeah.
Like, even the best. It's not good enough because even the most efficient strikers in the Premier League are converting, 30% of their chances?
Yeah.
And I think that's probably about right, the most efficient strikers. And so if you get one shot a game, and Højlund's a pretty efficient striker, like for all the missed chances, he converts quite a lot.
Yeah.
At least the data shows you that. Then he's just not going to score many goals at one shot a game. You need to get up to 3.5 for the best strikers, 4 if you're elite like, Messi or something like that. And he's nowhere near that. And part of it's on him, part of it's on the system, I guess, because we're playing these sort of 2 defensive fullbacks, which I don't think Amorim wants long term.
Right.
So, yeah, it's a real challenge and a real, so if you're going to take the money for Garnacho, who are you going to invest it in? Are you going to invest it in a sort of attacking left wing back? Are you going to invest it in a striker? Are you going to invest it in a central midfielder because you don't believe in Eriksen and Casemiro anymore?
I want everyone.
All of them.
I want all of them, please.
Yeah, I wish Sir Jim would, if he's listening. It's unlikely.
Maybe.
If you're listening, Sir Jim, I think you should buy Carrington for £250 million. Chelsea did it with a hotel, so the Premier League have said, yeah, that's all right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we should have an extra sponsor, maybe the toilet sponsor, Ineos Toilets at Old Trafford, something like that. Whatever, just make one up. That should be another few hundred million.
Yeah.
Like if you're listening to Jim, or just convince the Glazers to sell, because then you can write off the debt and do whatever you want.
Yeah. That one as well.
Good fix? No?
Maybe.
All right, I guess that's it for today's daily. Alejandro Garnacho, rumours of his departure to Napoli. I personally, I'd be sad. Not as sad as if they sold Kobbie Mainoo. I'd be on the barricades rioting then. Like that's just that's an absolute no.
That's too far.
It's too far. It's too far. You do not sell Kobbie.
No.
Garnacho, I'd be sad because I think the chances of us replacing with a higher level player are quite narrow. Like you really have to pick the right one and do the right deal. But there you go. Could be possible. That's the world we live in. Isabel, thank you very much. Talk About United is your YouTube channel. Go visit if you get the chance, whether you're listening or watching this one. Thank you, everyone.